I want to crown the phone of the year today. In the semifinals, the OnePlus 13 won against Galaxy S24 Ultra, which was expected since it's packing the latest generation Snapdragon. And the Vivo X200 Pro won against the iPhone 16 Pro Max with better battery life and camera performance. And more, and I'm going to do the most detailed comparison I've ever done so far. Only one phone can be crowned today, and I'm gonna warn you, it's gonna be really close. The first category in which to judge the phones is performance. I'm running the app I wrote to measure the battery life and temperature while doing the performance test. For the first test, I tried to export 50 images while adding a watermark to them using Adobe Lightroom. The OnePlus 13 with Snapdragon 8 Elite finished in 2 minutes and 18 seconds while reaching a maximum temperature of 33.5 degrees Celsius, which is 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Vivo X200 Pro was slightly behind and finished at 2 minutes and 47 seconds later, but it reached 2 degrees higher than the OnePlus 13. For the second test, I exported a full YouTube video in 4K. I'm using Adobe Rush for this one. As a side note, I'm running both phones on the performance mode during the performance test. This time, the Vivo X200 Pro was faster and finished in 5 minutes and 9 seconds, while the OnePlus 13 finished in 5 minutes and 53 seconds. But that came with the cost of Vivo getting up to 5 degrees Celsius and 9 degrees Fahrenheit higher than OnePlus 13. The display's temperature difference is not as high as the battery reading temperature and is only 1 to 2 degrees higher in Vivo. For the third test, I ran the Geekbench Benchmark, where Vivo got 1000 lower score on multi-core and around 500 lower on single-core compared to OnePlus. This is one of the highest, if not the highest multi-core scores I've seen on a phone for Geekbench, and OnePlus is doing wonders. It is more powerful than my few years old laptop. Then I ran the 3D Mark stress test. This test will measure the performance of the GPU and chipset. In the middle of the test, OnePlus dimmed the screen. By the end of the test, OnePlus 13 got a much higher score. It got 24K compared to 19K in Vivo. Also, the stability was much better, and the lowest loop was 13K on OnePlus compared to 8K from Vivo. Even though OnePlus was doing better throughout the whole test, I should mention that it also throttled much later than Vivo, letting the Snapdragon 8 Elite reach its full potential. This makes sense since OnePlus focuses more on performance and Vivo focuses more on camera enthusiasts. In total, OnePlus won 3 out of 4 performance tests and received the first points. The second category is thermals. I measured the thermals in the first 3 tests, and OnePlus was consistently cooler than Vivo X200 Pro. I would say the 3D Mark benchmark is an anomaly, since in real life, you would not stress the phone like we did in that one. I should note that there is nothing wrong with the temperature on Vivo. It is just that OnePlus seems to do better. Therefore, the OnePlus 13 gets the second point too, and now it is 2-0. The next category is gaming. For this one, I did play Genshin Impact for 20 minutes straight on the max setting and 60 frames per second. This is considered a rather heavy game, and I doubt many people play it on the max graphics settings. Both phones performed exceptionally well, and I was surprised they stayed relatively cool until the end. Neither of them had any frame drop, as far as I saw with my eyes, and by the end of it, they had almost identical battery temperatures. I also checked the display temperature using the FLIR camera, and they both had similar, if not identical, display temperatures. I am sure we'll get different results if we play different games, but at least by playing Genshin Impact, it is a draw. The next category is where the Vivo X200 Pro shines the most. It is the camera. Vivo is collaborating with Zeiss, a German company for color science and image processing, and OnePlus is collaborating with Hasselblad, a Swedish company. Both the Vivo X200 Pro and OnePlus 13 have 3 cameras, an ultrawide, a wide, and a telephoto lens, but they are not built the same. When it comes to sensors, the main lens on Vivo is slightly larger than the one on OnePlus. If we don't pixel peep and we only look at the pictures during daylight, the difference is not huge, and they look very similar. I do notice that the sky in Vivo has a slightly better dynamic range, but that could be very well related to computational photography and adding the contrast. In this picture, even though everything looks similar at first glance, when we zoom in, we can see that the Vivo is cleaner and packs more details. The difference is more apparent at night. I took this shot at almost zero light, and as you can see, the Vivo got the colors better than the blown highlights on OnePlus. With the ultrawide lens, I did notice that Vivo had more dynamic range compared to the OnePlus 13, but again, It is only noticeable if you really pixel peep. The difference shows itself more if you use the telephoto lens, where the Vivo X200 Pro's camera and lens is 50% larger than OnePlus 13. A larger sensor does two things. It lets more light in, which helps get better pictures in low light situations, and it creates a better shallow depth of field and blurred background, which gives the photo that DSLR Pro camera look. Looking at this picture at a focal length of 460 to 480, the picture in Vivo is packed with more details and is sharper than the one on the OnePlus 13. Here, I'm zooming almost 20 times, and I still have an insane amount of details on both phones. Vivo again made a cleaner shot, which is also sharper than the OnePlus. Both phones can take telephoto macro shots, which basically means you can take macro shots from a distance. The shot on Vivo is better due to a larger sensor. For example, if you look at the background, you do notice it is more blurred. There are only two shots in which OnePlus did better. One of them was this shot where the camera was directed at the sun, where Vivo made disappointing reflections. I was very surprised since Vivo is using Zeiss TSR coating. The second shot was the selfie one. I prefer the shot on OnePlus. The Vivo shot has a bit of a color shift on my jacket. In portrait mode, Vivo made a more balanced picture, and my face is better lit. And this last shot at night says it all. The blurred background is more apparent in Vivo, and the picture looks out of a camera. If you zoom in, it is obvious that Vivo is packing more details in this picture. OnePlus 13 also has amazing cameras, and it took me by surprise. Let's just take a moment and appreciate that phones are getting better and better every year with their camera sensors. When it comes to videos, my first problem is that I can't import OnePlus 13 videos into Premiere Pro, no matter how I change the setting. Nevertheless, Vivo has the upper hand, both in terms of quality and in terms of supporting 120 frames per second together with lock. Vivo Lock is one of the best, if not the best, lock formats I've seen on a phone, and color grading is very easy. For example, in this first shot, I'm color grading it using Alexa LUT, which resembles an expensive Alexa camera colors and is gorgeous. In the second shot, I'm color grading it with RE colors, another of my favorite camera colors. It gives the shot a very cinematic look, as if it is straight out of a camera and not the usual over-sharpened and saturated phone footage. To me, it's obvious that Vivo X200 Pro has a much better camera compared to OnePlus 13, especially when it comes to the telephoto lens. Now the score is 3-2. And of course, the better camera comes with a cost, and that's a bigger camera bump. So the next category is design and display. Both displays are slightly curved, something that I'm not a big fan of. Both get bright enough under direct sunlight. Both have 1 billion colors, and both support HDR10+. There's a catch though for OnePlus 13. At least on YouTube, the HDR content is not as bright as I want it to be. I'm not sure if it is a software issue. Both are IP69, and of course 69 is a nicer number than 68 for obvious reasons, but the body of the OnePlus 13 is 20 grams lighter than that of the Vivo. I would say in terms of the design, it is a tie, and it's up to you which one you prefer. I personally prefer the OnePlus 13 because it is easier to hold in one hand, but again, it is kind of subjective. The next category would be the battery life, where both of them have a beefy 6000 mAh battery. In the morning when I started doing all of these tests, including the performance ones and the photos and videos, I charged both to 100%. Before doing the final battery test, the Vivo was already 7% ahead. I then put both phones to talk to each other over Google Meet on 5G. By the end of the test, the Vivo X200 Pro had 6% more battery than the OnePlus 13. Then, they were idle for some time and uploaded the pictures in the background to Google Cloud. Before midnight, the Vivo X200 Pro had 53% battery left, while the OnePlus 13 had 47% battery left. I hammered both phones with over 4 hours of heavy tasks, and they were pretty much half full. And I'm going to be honest, I don't want to spend another day draining the batteries. I know it is a partial result, but in my experience, Vivo has a better battery life. Hence, Vivo gets this one. Now it is a tie. I needed a tiebreaker, and I was thinking about what could be the most objective measurement, and I decided to go for a signal strength. I look at 3 values from Android: RSRQ, RSRP, and signal strength values. Throughout the test, in Vienna, the Vivo X200 Pro got a better value in all 3 measurements compared to the OnePlus 13. It was a bit surprising to me since OnePlus is using the latest Qualcomm modem, but I should also note that the signal is not just about the modem, but also the modem placement, the phone size, and many other factors. Therefore, Vivo gets the point, and now it is leading. If it's not satisfactory for you to win this way, I should note that the Vivo won in camera and battery life, arguably more important than performance and thermals on heavy tasks that most people won't do. Even the thermals were questionable, as OnePlus got hotter during the video call and the 3D Mark benchmark test. Therefore, based on Tecmo, the winner of the year is Vivo X200 Pro. Vivo X200 Pro has exceptional battery and camera performance, better than anything I've tested so far on a flagship phone. The Snapdragon 8 Elite on OnePlus 13 is also doing wonders, and the phone finally has some competitive cameras on it. I should do a disclaimer though, there are many other factors to factor in when you want to buy a phone, like the software experience, the accessories, the customer support, the availability, and other factors. I'm merely testing the hardware. If you want to see the semifinals, which were Vivo X200 Pro versus iPhone 16 Pro Max, or OnePlus 13 versus Galaxy S24 Ultra, watch one of these videos next. Thanks for tuning into Tecmo, and I will see you in the next one.